What we have done so far is study of ism, and in the study of ism foundations, जो भी हमने अभी तक build किए हैं, जिसमें ism की properties थी, उसको recognize करना, singular, plural, and all of that. And then we jumped on to fragments. Fragments was when multiple isms started to come together. ठीक है, और वहां पे आपकी वो चीजें अप्लाई होना शुरू हुई जो कि आपने इसम की फाउंडेशंस में की थी। इन फ्रैगमेंट्स में हमने 3 फ्रैगमेंट्स अभी तक किए। सबसे पहला फ्रैगमेंट हमने किया, मेरे ख्याल वन ऑफ द इनिशियल वन वाज हर्फ ऑफ जर। हर्फ ऑफ जर में हमने एक हर्फ ऑफ हरूफ याद किए। वो हरूफ क्या थे? वो थे बा, ता, काफ, लाम, वाव, मिन, फी, अन, अला, हत्ता, इला। अला, wait a second. अला, हत्ता, and इला. इला. Okay. These were the hurufs we did. ये हमने हर्फ किए और हमने कहा कि जब भी ये हर्फ आएगा, इसके बाद जो इसम आएगा वो क्या होगा? मजरूर होगा। It will go in the jar status, always and always. Okay, that's what we know about them. This was the fragment, and we did some exercises to recognize and detect them in different types of surahs. Harf of jar. ठीक है? अगर इसमें कोई चीज ऐसी आपको लगे ना जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ, which is unfamiliar to you, please stop me. है ना? मेरी assumption ये है कि you are familiar with all of what I'm saying right now. ठीक है? Please do stop me. और expectation अभी at this point ये है कि ये जो हुरूफ हैं, you know them by heart. Ba, ta, kaf, lam, waw, min, fi, an, ala, hatta, ila, and you also know their meanings. ठीक है? Ba is with, ta is the swearing word only used with Allah. Kaf is like, lam is for, waw is waw is oath, min is from, fi is in, an is about, and so on, and so on and so forth. Allah is upon, hatta is until, and ila is two words. So these are the hurufs that you know, inshallah, at least from Arabic perspective, and best case if you also know the meanings of these hurufs. That was the first fragment we did. Second one we did was, I believe, Idafa. Idafa was again made up of two isms, and we said that Idafa it gives us an off relationship. And we learned the formula in Idafa, that's light, no al, followed by jar. That's what we learned. Whenever you find an ism light and it has no al and it is directly, without any distance, directly followed by a jar, it's an idafa fragment. Okay, and it should give you some sort of meaning. That's the fundamental definition of idafa we did. And we did 3 flavors of idafa. The first flavor was idafa between two normalisms. Baitullahi, for example, Bait and Allahi. Then we did idafa between uh, normal ism and a pronoun, right? So we did all the pronoun chart, for example, fi, he, and all of those things. And the third flavor of idafa we did was with special mudafs. And there is a table in your notes about special mudafs. And special mudafs were those isms, they're normal isms, but they are those isms that do not necessarily give you an off meaning. Right? Some examples of these isms, for example, qabla was one of the isms. Qabla means before. So if you say qabla al masjidi, so you're not going to get an off meaning. It's before the masjid. There is no off in there. So these are special mudafs, and they're called special mudafs because those isms always show up as mudafs. So whenever you spot them in the Quran, you are looking at an idafa fragment. That's what we studied there. So my hope is that those isms, if you have not memorized those isms, it's fine, but you are at least able to detect them when they show up. They're somewhere in the back of your head, and when you see that word and it gives you a trigger that I've seen it somewhere, maybe it's something special I learned, and then you go back in the notes and you are able to find okay, this is the special mudaf. That's the bare minimum level you have to be on at this point. Okay? Best level, of course, is that you know all of these words by heart and also the meanings. Okay? That's what idafa was. Right? Then the third fragment we did was Mawsuf and Sifa. Mawsuf and Sifa was a noun and adjective relationship in which the Mawsuf comes first and the Sifa comes after. Mawsuf is the noun and Sifa is the adjective. In English, the adjective comes first and Sifa comes, Mawsuf comes after, like blue car. Blue is an adjective, car is a noun. In Arabic, it's completely opposite. The adjective would come after and the ism would come first. In this particular fragment, we said the four properties must match. That's what it is about. Four properties must match. When you see two isms, uh, their four properties must match, and that's the Mawsuf Sifa relationship. In this particular one, there was something different from what Idafa had and Harf of Jar had. Idafa and Harf of Jar did not tolerate the long distance relationship. The words must be together. Harf of Jar followed by the ism in Jar has to be together. Idafa, both isms has to be together. Right? In Mawsuf Sifa, you do have long distance relationship, supports long distance relationship. Okay? While it's a little difference from what Idafa and Harf of Jar has. It sometimes also creates little complication because you are looking at a Mawsuf right now, and then three words down the line you have the Sifa. So you have to keep track of that Sifa until you find it, and you have to use your common sense to decide if this is really falling back onto that Mawsuf. So usually it's the first ism after that that matches the four properties is it's a sifa. There's another point that we discussed here is one mawsuf can have multiple sifas. Okay. So it can be a fast, blue, speedy, beautiful, long car. So there is one car, but it has many, many characteristics and adjectives. So you can have multiple mawsuf, multiple sifas of a single mawsuf. That's what we also discussed. We took all of these, we applied it to Surah Fatiha. Okay? And we looked into Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. So I'll give you a very quick refresher of that Surah Fatiha, very fast-paced refresher. I think that will help you. Okay. And using all of this knowledge, we also did a collaborative assignments in the class of, I believe, Surah Munafiqun, and then also your home assignment for Surah Taghabun. Okay, so I hope you have managed to complete that one independently. If you have, you should be quite confident with all of these things, right? Um, any questions so far on this? Does that sound okay, familiar? Is it scary or is it have you forgotten it or is it still alive with you?
नो क्वेश्चन से सही
क्लियर है?
जी सर
ठीक हो गया। इसमें वेरी क्विकली आई विल गिव यू अ रिफ्रेशर। हमने क्या किया था? so you know what we are doing, and it's completely refreshed. So what we did was leave alhamdu. We identified lillahi as harf of jar. Okay, let me just single line harf of jar. And then we said Rabbi al alamini alamina was idafa, light no al followed by jar, right? And then we took the Rabbi and we saw the properties of Rabbi mapping to the properties of Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. So that became Masuf Sifa. Then Ar-Rahim also was mapping to Rabbi. That became Sifa number 2. This was Sifa number 1 and this was Sifa number 2. Then it became Maliki, also mapping to Rabbi. That became Sifa number 3. Right? But between Maliki and Yomi, we saw it light and Noal followed by Jar. Maliki Yomi was an Idafa, and Yomi Ad-Dini was also an Idafa. Okay. So when you have things chained together like this, Maliki is chained to Yomi, and Yomi is chained to the Ad-Dini. Wait a second. Okay. Yomi is chained to Ad-Dini. You pick up the entire bucket together. You will pick this entire thing together. So this entire thing would then be considered a sifa of the Rabbi. Okay? Although it's just Maliki matching the four properties, but because they are chained together, you cannot disconnect them. Right? So you have actually three sifas defined here for the word Rabbi. Again, you have Jar Majroor, you have Idafa fragment. That's what we did very, very quickly. I mean, today, of course, but last time we did quite comprehensively. And that brought everything together for us. In this case, you can see Rabbi is here, which is the Mosuf, and the Sifa is after one word, and this one is after two words, and Maliki is after three words. Okay, so you have to consider the long distance relationship in these cases. Okay? So that's where we stand today so far. Any questions, anything you want me to revisit before I move on to the next topic? Are we good with this?
जी सर.
Good हो गया. चले. Let's move on.
Just quick question, Arsad. So
जी
for this Malik Yawmiddin, so हमने
जी
establish कर लिया कि रब्बी के साथ इनका जो है इसमें है मसूफ सिफा. तो
जी
लाइक एज ए सेम टाइम जो मालिक की यौमिद्दीन है इसको हम एज ए स्टैंड अलोन इदाफा भी कंसीडर कर सकते हैं कि ऑफ रिलेशनशिप तो है ना.
जी जी वी आर डूइंग दैट. मैंने वही बात की कि मालिकी और यौमी जो है ना, मालिकी और
जी
यौमी इज एन इदाफा. दिस इज इदाफा. ठीक है. और ये यौमी इज आल्सो अ मुदाफ एंड अदीनी इज अ मुदाफ इलैह. इट्स आल्सो एन इदाफा. देयर टू इदाफास ऑपरेटिंग हियर. ठीक है. स्टैंड अलोन आप क्यों नहीं करेंगे, यानी स्टैंड अलोन आप इसलिए नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि मालिकी की जब बात हो रही है, यू टॉकिंग अबाउट सम ओनर, बट हु इज दैट ओनर? I mean, owner is the characteristic. It's something defining somebody. It's a title, right? And that title needs to be given to somebody, and that is the mausuf. So this connection exists, okay? And Maliki Yomi connection is also existing. Yomi and Adini connection is also existing. So what you do is pick up the entire thing and you assign it as a characteristic of the Rab. Does that answer your question, Okazvi?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Thank you.
ठीक. जबरदस्त. चले, let's move on. अच्छा, now let me give you some visibility on what's remaining on the foundation studies of Islam, so you know where we are heading. There are three major topics remaining. Uh, Out of that, two are fragments. There are two fragments we need to do. One of those fragments we'll do today, inshallah. And then we have to do after that fundamental fundamental sentence structure. These two things are remaining in the study of isms. Okay, two fragments and the fundamental sentence structure. Very, very fundamental beginning of sentence structure studies in ism. ये दो टॉपिक करने के बाद हम इसम की स्टडीज को पॉज लगाएंगे, ठीक है। पॉज लगाने के बाद हम लोग जाएंगे इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ फेल, ठीक है। एंड ऑफ कोर्स इनसाइड दैट वर्ल्ड ऑफ फेल विल कंटिन्यू टू यूज दिस नॉलेज ऑफ इसम टू प्रैक्टिस but your world will change little bit after these two topics, these two domains that we will cover inshallah. Fail is a very, very different world, and it has its own beauty. So once we have done these two areas, we will pause the ism. So you've come a long way, inshallah, to close the ism topic at a foundation level. Okay. So just to give you visibility, so of these two fragments, one of the fragments we are going to do is today. Let me do that. Okay. All right. I'm going to write few hurufs here, and let's see how it goes with you. Oops, why is it a small ones? Okay. Have you seen this harf in the Quran before? Inna. I'm sure you have heard this harf in the Quran before. Inna.
Many times. Yes.
It's very, very, very commonly used harf in the Quran. Inna. And there is kind of a rhyme to them. Inna, anna. आप देखें इनमें फर्क सिर्फ यानी स्पेलिंग वाइज तो सेम कैरेक्टर लिस्ट है, बट इट्स अ हरका दैट चेंजेस. इट्स इन्ना, वन इज इन्ना एंड द अदर इज अन्ना. इन्ना, अन्ना, inna, anna. Can we remember these two? We have to find a way to remember these two. It's like the same memory game where you take one name of one word and then you remember it and then take the second name and so on and so forth. Inna, anna. Inna, anna. And then the third one is similar. What I do is I pick up anna. I pick up the same anna. First I write it for you, for example, so you see that. But before that, I'm going to attach a kaf. Right? Inna, anna, ka anna. I'm just trying to give you a logic so you can remember. Usually memorization में logic नहीं होती. I'm trying to build those logics for you so you don't have too much pressure in memorizing these things. Memorization is a part of any language. Even if you do English, German, French, you have to memorize the vocabulary with meaning. Uh, but in Arabic, because it's a very, dynamic language, there is sometimes a logic to constructing words. And there is a full study of word construction in Arabic called sarf, morphology, which I hope we will, inshallah, someday will reach. And you will see how it will exaggerate your vocabulary. I will give you 3 letters and you will produce at least over 100 words from it yourself. That's the beauty of Arabic language. Inna, anna, ka anna. Now I'm going to take the same anna, but this time I'm not going to attach a kaf. I'm going to attach a ba. Bi anna. This is ka anna and bi anna. So if you have remembered inna and anna, the next two should be easy. You pick up anna, you make it ka anna. You pick up anna, you make it bi anna. Let me give you these four. Can you spend 30 seconds just making sure that you can retain them in your mind? Just spend 1 or 2 minutes. Read out loud. If you are in a place where you can unmute yourself, read it out loud, and make sure that you can retain them. It's important. Okay, so 1-2 minutes, please, if you can. Inna anna ka'anna bi anna. Inna anna ka'anna bi anna. Inna anna ka'anna bi anna.
Inna anna ka anna bi anna. Inna anna ka anna bi anna.
Bi anna. Zabardast. Zabardast. Inna anna ka'anna bi anna. Not too difficult. Who can tell me that? Without looking.
Inna anna ka. God. You continue, sir.
आपका
Shoaib bhai.
आप इन्ना
Inna anna ka anna bi anna.
Thank you, Waqas bhai.
अन्ना का अन्ना भी अन्ना
Zabardast Sohaib. Who's next?
Inna anna ka anna bi anna.
Zabardast.
Inna anna ka anna bi anna.
Zabardast. Umar bhai.
Am I audible?
Ji.
Inna anna ka anna bi anna.
Zabardast. Excellent. Excellent, guys. Inna anna ka anna bi anna. So with the logic of adding a kaf and a ba, you can produce them fairly easily. Okay. And these are very, very important hurufs, just like the previous ones, and they show up almost everywhere in the Quran. So it's important for you to know them by heart. Now I'm going to give you three more. These ones were quite rhythmic. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, related to each other. These three ones, all of them starts with a lam. All of them starts with a lam. Okay. So the first one is laita. Laita. Okay. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita. Lakinna. Lakinna. That one also starts with a lam. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna. And the third one is, last one is la'alla. La'alla. Laita, lakinna, la'alla. Laita, lakinna, la'alla. So the common factor is the lam in the last three. All three have la before them. Laita, lakinna, la'alla. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna, la'alla. I'll give you 2 minutes. Let's make sure that you can remember all of them, inshallah. Okay. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna, la'alla. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna, la'alla. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna, la'alla. 2 minutes. Very good. Inna, anna, ka anna, bi anna, laita, lakinna, la'alla. So who's going first? Give it a shot.
I'll go.
Ji.
Inna anna ka anna bi anna laita lakinna la Allah.
Zabardast. Excellent. Ji. Next.
Inna anna ka anna bi anna laita lakanna lalla.
Lakinna, la'alla. Very good. Excellent. Next.
Inna anna ka anna bi anna layta lakinna la'alla.
Zabardast, Zabardast. Next.
I'll go next. Inna anna la anna bi anna
Ka'anna bi anna.
ka anna bi anna. Sorry. Lakinna la alla
And
नहीं lakinna last में first भूल गया मुझे.
doesn't
Sorry.
matter the sequence. You should know the harfs.
Lakinna la alla
Layta. Layta lakinna la'alla. Inna anna ka'anna bi anna. Layta lakinna la'alla. Good attempt, Umar bhai. Ho jayega firm. Ji, Sohaib, you want to go?
जी इन्ना अन्ना का अन्ना भी अन्ना लैता लकिन्ना अल्लाह
जबरदस्त जबरदस्त. आई एम नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग कि आप लोग बिल्कुल फ्लुएंट हो चुके होंगे इस सेशन में इनके ऊपर. सो यू हैव डन इनफ. इंशाल्लाह लेट्स गो फॉरवर्ड. By the next class, try to make sure that you know them by heart really good. Okay, just like you know the harf of jars. Inna anna ka anna bi anna layta lakinna lalla. Now, they are very close friends of harf of jars. Yeah. And the only difference between them and harf of jar is what harf of jar does is makes an ism jar. And what these guys do, they make an ism nasab. That's the main difference. Okay, that's the principal difference. So these hurufs are called harf of nasab. Just like the harf of jar, these are called harf of nasab. So whenever they show up in the Quran, the ism after them is going to be nasab. They must have an ism in nasab in front of them. But the difference is they do tolerate the long distance. Okay? Unlike harf of jars, they don't tolerate long distance in harf of jar case, but in this case, they do tolerate the long distance relationship. You can have this ism, and then after a little while, you can have its ism. Okay, so these hurufs must have a ism in nasab, either directly after or little bit after a while, but it must have it. They just cannot exist without their ism in nasab. जब भी आपको ये हर्फ नजर आएंगे तो आप कहेंगे this is harf of nasab, and when you find an ism that is in nasab because of this harf, you'll say this is an ism of the harf of nasab, the ism of the harf of nasab. That's what you will do. Simple examples I can construct few for you. You might have read things like this in the Quran. Inna Allah. Have you heard Inna Allaha, Inna Allahu, or Inna Allahi? What should it be now that you know Inna? What
अल्लाह
should
Inna Allaha.
Inna Allaha?
Allah.
It can never be Inna Allahu or Inna Allahi. Right? So it always be Inna Allaha. So how about if I say Inna Ibrahim? What should it be? Inna Ibrahim?
Ma.
इन्ना इब्राहीमा
Inna Ibrahima. Right? Inna Ibrahima. No matter what harf, Inna Anna Ka Anna Bi Anna Layta Lakinna La'alla, the ism will be in nasab. They need an ism in nasab. Without that, they do not survive. Okay. So let's check out the pronouns. So we have some pronouns. Hua, we have huma, hum. Okay. Let's try to construct these things with the pronouns. Yeah, so we know how they are working. Inna, we know. I'm just taking inna as an example because it's the first one. It's easier just usually for the students. So you can take any of them. So inna, and I want to attach hua to it. Can I attach hua with inna? What is the status of hua?
Rafa.
Rafa. And in order to attach it to inna, what do I need?
Ha.
अटैच्ड प्रोनाउन
Attached pronoun. It's either ha or
he.
sorry, it's either ha or it's who. That's what it is. What I will do is I will attach that pronoun like this, inna ha or innahu. Both would be fine. I mean, you can use both, inna ha or innahu. That's fine. But from the rhyme perspective, when you have a fatha before it, it's usually used a fatha version in the end. So innaha, this is an attached form of huwa pronoun used with the harf of nasab. In this case, this ha is going to be nasab. Whereas in another case, for example, this case, bihi, this is going to be a jar attached form, right? Just because you know there is a ba before it, it's a harf of jar. So just by looking at the harf, you can tell the status of that ism. In what's the attached form of huma? Attached form of huma. Sounds should know.
Hima.
Huma, yes, there were two forms, huma and hima. Right? Huma and hima both were the attached. So you can attach any of them, but it would likely going to be inna huma, not inna hima. E sound doesn't really look that rhythmic in terms of Arabic, but of course I won't be surprised if you find that. So inna huma barzahullahu yabgayan, you may know that from Surah Rahman. So that's how you attach with the harf of nasabs any attached pronoun. All you need to know is the attached version of the pronoun. But I'll give you another one. Let's see what happens here. So we also have ana, which is the nahnu, which is the I, the first person, right? And I want to attach ana to inna. This is inna. Wait a second, please. Inna. And I want to attach ana to it. Let's see what it turns out to be. So inna and ana. What is the attached form of ana? Who can recall?
And ya, ni.
There were two, right? There was a ya and there was a ni. That's what we knew. And we said that ya was the jar form and ni was the nasab form, if you remember, right? You're going to pick up the ni and you're going to attach it like that. Innani. Innani. Now, this is a case, this is perfectly right. Innani is perfectly right form of harf of nasab. This is a harf of nasab, inna and attach ism in nasab form. But in this case, you can produce another version of this. For Arabs, the rhythmicness of the language, the way it sounds easier on your mouth and tongue is very important. So what they do is when two noons come together, they squish them and merge them together to make one. Okay, so when you have this case, what they normally do is instead of attaching it like in nani, they would just remove one of the noons. They will squish them together like this. And now when they squish them together, what does the ya do? I mean, it just completely overrules the haraka. You cannot pronounce it if there is a fatha on it anymore. In Na'i, it's very difficult to pronounce. Doesn't make sense to pronounce and it becomes very difficult. So what they do is they just remove that fatha on top and it just becomes inni. Both forms are used in the Quran. Okay? Both forms are used in the Quran. Either you find inni or innani, that is the same harf of nasab. In the case of inni, it's just two noons squished together. And because of the ya and the pronunciation of the ya, it overrules the haraka on the noon and you just remove that and just say inni. I'll give you another example. Inna nahnu. This is another one starting with the noon. Now, what is the attached form of nahnu? Attached form of nahnu.
Na.
Na. Attached form of nahnu. The reason to wait for your answers is because I want to make sure you remember that. Okay, so one of you should remember that. Inna, and the attached form is na. Okay, so what you would do is you in a normal situation you would just attach it to the harf of nasab. Innana, which is perfectly fine. It's a harf of nasab. Harf of nasab with its ism na, which is the attached form of nahnu. But knowing in the last example what Arabs do when two noons come together, what do you think it will become?
Inna with alif.
It will become inna. The two noons will squish together, become one. Where have you heard this word inna? Have you heard this
Inna
word inna?
atayna. Inna
Inna
atayna ka.
atayna kal kausar. Inna atayna kal kausar. Right. So in the Quran, both are used, innana and inna. If you find them, this is a harf of nasab fragment. Right? And that's all the harf of nasab fragment. This is what it is. There's nothing more to it. So you need to just keep an eye on the long distance relationship part, and you just need to keep an eye on these two, innani and innana. That is what a harf of nasab is. So inna, in this case, these hurufs are called ism harf nasabs. These are called just harf nasabs, and the ism they make nasab is called ismuha, or just its ism. You can just call it its ism. So inna is the harf nasab, and the word Allah is its ism. Inna is harf of nasab, and the word Ibrahima is its ism. Just like in pronoun, inna is harf of nasab, and the pronoun ha is its ism, and so on. And that's what the harf of nasab fragment is. Clear? Any questions? Anything unclear on this?
फहद भाई आपने मेंशन किया था कि हर्फ ऑफ नसब जो है वो लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस जो है टॉलरेट कर लेता है
जी
तो लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस रिलेशनशिप तो
जी
यहाँ पे आपने जितनी एग्जांपल्स दी हैं उसमें हर्फ ऑफ नसब के फौरन बाद जो इसम है दैट इज
जी
नसब
जी
कोई ऐसी एग्जांपल है जहाँ पे बीच में जो है मतलब नसब नहीं मतलब हर्फ ऑफ नसब के फौरन बाद नसब नहीं आया आगे चल के
जी
आया तो
जी
उस
जी
केस में उसके बाद हर्फ ऑफ नसब के बाद जो इसम होगा या जो वर्ड होगा वो कौन सा होगा
कोई भी हो सकता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको देता हूँ. इन्ना लहुम इन्ना लहुम ajran. If you know the if you read the Surah Kahf, then you would know inna lahum ajran hasana is one term used in this surah. So in this case, this is inna, and immediately after it's something that you should know. You should tell me what this is.
हर्फ ऑफ जर
This is harf of
जार
jar.
मजरूर जी
Jar majroor, right? Uh, but you don't have its ism directly after. Now you go forward with inna. Inna says, I need an ism in nasab, ism in nasab, and you don't find it. It says lahum, where is the ism nasab? You say, I don't know. Go forward. So it finds another first ism after it that is in nasab. Okay? So this ajran together with inna would form a harf of nasab. And what can be in the middle? Anything. It can be an idafa, it can be jar majroor, it can be mawsuf sifa, it could be whatever, a fail or anything. I mean, it could be anything really in principle. So when we do some examples, you will see that happening. Okay. So there is
ठीक है
no
सर
no
थैंक यू
rule as
सर
such. Okay. Okay.
फाद भाई, एक क्वेश्चन
जी
है. ये जब हम पढ़ते हैं इन्ना लिल्लाहि व इन्ना इलैहि राजिऊन,
जी
इसमें इन्ना यही वाला हो गया.
जी
हर्फ ऑफ नसब लिल्लाही वो है जार
जी
हर्फ ऑफ जर, ठीक है।
जी
अच्छा फिर
बिल्कुल
आगे वा वो हो गया कनेक्टिंग, उसके आगे
देखते हैं इसको मैं यहाँ पे
जी
लिखता हूँ इसको इंशाल्लाह जितना मैं लिख सकता हूँ इन्ना और फिर आप कहते हैं लिल्लाही 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 व इन्ना इलैही इलैही राजिऊन राजिऊन इस पूरे फ्रेगमेंट में you do not know I don't know if you do not know that skip this part. You should know all of this, everything. Now inna आप लोग बताएं क्या है? Is it what type of fragment is this? Inna.
सर हर्फ ऑफ नसब
It's harf of nasab. It's the
अच्छा
harf
हर्फ ऑफ
inna
नसब,
combined with
अच्छा
the
ये
dash form
ऑलरेडी
na.
ना
सही है
कंबाइन
सही
विद
है,
ना
Right?
जी 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 ठीक है
That's the
ठीक है।
same. It's the same inna used in inna
ना
atayna kal kausar. Right? And then lillahi, what is this? You tell me.
हर्फ ऑफ जर
हर्फ ऑफ जर
Perfect. It's harf of jar.
जी
Okay. Va.
जी
Now, we could look at it as a harf of jar, right? If it is a harf of jar, what should it have right after?
जर
जर
An ism in jar. Does it have a word right after an ism in jar?
नहीं,
नो
No.
No. So, what type of wow could it be?
कनेक्टिंग वर्ड
कनेक्टिंग
So,
कनेक्टिंग
connecting wow. It's and, right? Then you have again inna, harf of nasab,
जी
and then what is ilahi?
जार मजरूर
Jar majroor.
ज-
Bata kaf lam waw min fi an ala hatta ila. That's all jar majroor. Okay. In fact, raji'una you could see as an ism right now. Okay? Because it's una ending and all of that. So raja'a yarji'u raj'an fahuwa raji'un. Raji'un is basically something called ism file. It's a kind of a doer who does some action. We'll do that inshallah later on in the classes. Okay. So yes, just to answer a question, आप देख रहे हैं कि ये पूरा फ्रैगमेंट इन्ना लिल्लाहि व इन्ना इलैहि ये सब आपके हर्फ ऑफ नसब और हर्फ ऑफ जर से बना हुआ है, right? Okay. Let me take you to your notes. In your notes on page number 28, you have all of this mentioned here. Okay. So let's quickly read through that so you know what's in here. So harf of nasab makes its ism nasab, can tolerate long distance relationship. Meanings पे मैं अभी आपके साथ नहीं आया because I didn't really want to give you too much to overload. But these are the meanings. We'll inshallah do them later on. आप कर सकते हैं इसको तो कर लीजिए. Inna generally means certainly or for sure. Anna is that as in the connector that, not the pointer that. So I like the fact that we come to this class. So this that would be this that. So it's not that car is beautiful. It's not that. It's too much that going on. So the ka'anna, as though, as if. Bi anna is because. It's easy to remember bi anna because B is for because. Lakinna, however, la'alla, so that hopefully maybe later. I'll help you inshallah with the memorization in the next class. The nasab form of the
आप एक
pronunciation.
छोटा सा
जी
क्वेश्चन और है।
जी बताएं.
ये जब हमने हर्फ ऑफ जर किए थे तो उसमें बा भी था,
जी
तो यहाँ पे जो बी अन्ना, अच्छा नहीं खैर वो चीज ठीक है कि हाँ इसके बाद वो नहीं आएगा, मतलब हर्फ इसम होना चाहिए और वो होना चाहिए
जी
जर फॉर्म में होना चाहिए।
जी. Because there is no ism in jar after this ba, it's
हाँ
not harf
ठीक है,
of jar.
तो ये वो ना नहीं होगा।
जी बिल्कुल
ठीक है जी.
अच्छा, this is where it is saying the same thing we just did. The nasab form of the pronoun ana is ni, and the nasab form of nahnu is na. When attached to harf of nasab, these pronouns can be written fully, or the noon can be dropped. Right? Like this one, for example. ये कुछ Quranic examples हैं. Innana यहाँ पे use हुआ, second में inna use हुआ, फिर यहाँ inni use हुआ, और यहाँ पे innani use हुआ. All of them are used in the Quran. Right? Now, in this exercise, what you should do is try to find what is what, if this is a harf of nasab fragment or not. That's what we want to do. Okay, if it is a harf of nasab fragment or not. So let's try it. ये example तो हमने भी की है class में. Anna lahum ajran. I think I wrote inna in the notes. It's anna when I was teaching you. Anna lahum ajran. So anna is the harf of nasab. Right after is a harf of jar, and then you find another ism in nasab. So anna and ajran forms a harf of nasab. ठीक है, यहां तक तो क्लियर है. यहां पे देखते हैं. Can you spot the harf of nasab?
Innahum.
Innahum. And what type of ism it is making nasab?
Hum.
Huwa, huma, hum.
Hum. It's a pronoun. Right? It's making it nasab. Innahum. If inna means certainly, you should know what hum means. Can you come up with a answer what this term would mean in hum?
Certainly they.
Certainly they, certainly them, because huwa, huma, hum is he, they both, and they. Now, this hum is the attached form, not the independent form. Right? So, independent form meant they. The attached form is either there or they or them. Right? So, certainly them. That would be more accurate translation, but when you look into the entire ayah, many times it is translated as they to make the context sensible in English as well. Correct. Innaha, again, a harf of nasab with attached pronoun. Which attached pronoun is this?
Ha, huwa, hiya.
Here. This is here. Very good. Now let's see if you can decode this one. So I want you to help me with the G.
Sure. Inna is harf of nasab. Alayna is jar majroor. Iya bahum. So then last bahum is again jar majroor. So it must be iya. Nasab.
Okay. Interesting. Any interesting? कोई और thoughts भी है? इसके बाद फिर मैं explain करता हूँ. Anyone else has a take on this as well?
ना जो है वो इसका होगा harf of nasb.
This is correct. This is harf of jar, right? What Shamsbai as I mean told is very close, but there's little thing that we need to change on that. So inna certainly is a harf of nasab. I think we all agree. Harf of nasab. Ilayna is the harf of jar, so it cannot be its ism. So its ism, inna's ism has to be somewhere around iyabahum. Right? Now, if you say it's iyaba, let's go here. If you say this is iyaba, it's iyaba. This is iyabahum. That's how it is. Okay. Right. Now, what is hum? What is hum?
Attached pronoun.
Attached pronoun. Okay. So it was iyaba, and we attached the hum to it. Now leave hum for a side, on a side for now. Right. Now let's look at iyaba. So do you think iyaba is one word or ba is the harf of jar?
Iyaba, now it seems like it's a one word.
Yes.
So it's Iyaba, yeah.
And there's another way of looking at it. So if I combine Iyaba and hum, is this some sort of a fragment?
So it's Idafa Mudaf ilayh.
It's an Idafa fragment, right? So in an Idafa fragment, the first ism has to be light or heavy?
Light.
Light. So that single haraka, the light part, maybe confused you for it being a ba with from the harf of jar.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the full ism, iyaba, in independent form. So what is the status of this ism?
Iyaba is nasab.
Iyaba is nasab. So in this context, would it be the harf of ism of harf of nasab?
Ji.
Yes. Right? So because there is a harf of jar between it, so there is a long distance relationship. But iyaba still would be the ism of inna. Right? Clear? Chale. I'll do two more and then I'll leave you. आप लोग जा सकते हैं. Or please, if you can complete this by the next session, that would be great. فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ. Let's see.
La'alla is the harf of nasab.
Correct. So fa is one letter, one word. La'alla is another. Inna, anna, ka'anna, bi'anna, laita, lakinna, la'alla. That's what we said. Okay. So what it is, it's ism.
Nafsa. Nafsa.
Okay. One
Because
word is for nafsa. Okay.
Ji sir. Ba'khiw is jar majroor.
How can it?
No.
Bakhiyun is just a standard ism in Rafa. Okay. Ism
Nafsa.
in Rafa. So one word is for nafsa. Any other words? Where is the ism of la'alla? It's missing its ism.
Nafsa.
Sorry? Nafsa?
जी.
Okay, so there are two words on nafsa. Okay. What is the status of this kaf? Ka.
So this is seemingly nasab.
What is this kaf? Do we know anything about this?
Yes,
Kaf?
it's anta. Anta.
It's the attached form of anta, right? It's an
Yes.
attached form of anta. Very good. Very good. And what is it doing with nafsa? I mean, is it forming something together? Nafsa ka?
Well, in your nafs. So it's yeah.
Of
So it's idafa.
It's an idafa. Okay. Now that you know it's idafa, what is the status of ka?
Jar.
Jar. Okay. So it's jar. Is there any other ka in this script?
Falalaka.
What is the status of this ka?
Nasab.
Why?
Lalla.
La'alla. You see that?
So हमेशा सिर्फ लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस ही नहीं देखना चाहिए, कभी कभार करीब भी हो सकता है.
सर कुर्बत से मामलात अच्छे हो जाते हैं.
है सर.
Yeah,
गहरी
so
बातें कर देते हैं फात भाई जाते जाते हैं.
ka is the ism which is in nasab, right? So this is typical challenge students normally face. So once they know they can be long distance, so you as a human mind you tend to find complexity first. Maybe the answer is right in front of you. Okay? So if there is an ism, you have to just start to bring all of these things together. Question everything. What is this ka? Okay, you have detected la'alla, but what is this ka? And if you have detected this ka, then you already have an answer. You don't even need to go forward here. Done. Okay. So try to complete this during the week. It's a fun exercise. It's a good exercise for you. And once you have done this exercise, I highly recommend you to go through the next page. These are some Quran examples of harf of jar and harf of nasab. Okay? Some Quran examples of harf of jar and harf of nasab. Just read through them. And if there are any questions, inshallah, we can address them in the next class. Otherwise, this is what harf of nasab is. In the next class, my expectation would be that you would have these harfs, of course, memorized, best case with the meanings, and completed this exercise. That's something, if you can achieve, that would be great. Okay?
जी sure.
Zabardast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Jazakallah.
much. Inshallah, आपसे
Thank
मुलाकात
you.
होगी next Sunday. Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum.